Who are the New South Wales Police? You don't know. I do. I'm going to tell you. Because I'm kind of out of time. Receiving more government threats of raids and sieges, kidnappings, shootings, tortures, all this kind of shit that they do. I'm going to try to wing it and see what I can say while I got time. So the New South Wales Police are not actually a police force. And now I don't do the silly wordplay and stupid shit that other fakes do, where they read like 200-year-old government documents and laws and stuff, and they say, ha ha ha, I've got you. I've interpreted the certain wording to mean this and instead of that. No, I've got you on some silly technicality. Those guys are fucking toxic, lying, crazy, evil pieces of shit. Don't believe a word they say. They're just trying to fucking trick you with like toddler level wordplay. I say shit that matters, shit that works, shit that actually carries weight. So when I say the New South Wales Police Force are not who you think they are, I'm not doing this pathetic, fake conspiracy theory kind of wordplay shit that others do. I'm talking about real shit that you'll be able to relate to and understand. Let's refer to Ned Kelly. Everyone knows about Ned Kelly, especially in New South Wales and Australia. Ned Kelly was a guy who stood against the government, and he wore an armoured suit, and he killed a whole bunch of cops in self-defense. They came to him. He didn't go to them. They came to him, and he put on an armored suit, and he killed a whole bunch of them until they eventually killed him. He didn't do it alone either. But so there's a history here that's been largely forgotten, and if you think nowadays, it's like, okay, Ned Kelly, the government says he's the bad guy, but it's taboo. The police say he's the bad guy, the rest of the government say he's a good guy, and the citizens are supposed to, as the narrative says, the citizens are supposed to be on his side. And though no one really has a say in it nowadays, they just hear these stories of narratives about you're supposed to, if you're with the police, you're supposed to portray Ned Kelly as a bad guy. If you're a citizen, you're supposed to portray him as some kind of hero, and there's this confusing, incoherent mess. It's like this way for a reason. There's a reason. There's a historic reason why this narrative is the way it is. It doesn't matter whether he was a good guy or a bad guy, Ned Kelly. The concern here is that he stood against the New South Wales, the New South Wales Police, who they call themselves the New South Wales Police. It doesn't. You talk about different states and stuff. No, it just doesn't work that way. He stood against the police and this organisation that now calls itself the New South Wales Police Force. It doesn't matter where you say it happened in this happened in this state or that happened in that state. It's not like that. Ned Kelly stood against this group of people who now identify themselves as the New South Wales Police Force. So what happened is he nowadays you don't know about this, but in New South Wales, body armour is illegal. It's never been enforced. It's a secret law that's never been enforced because they don't want people to know that it's illegal. It's illegal because they don't want another Ned Kelly. They don't want anyone to stand against the so-called, what they call themselves now, as the police. So they made body armor illegal. So we've got no guns, no way to defend ourselves, and we've got no way to armor. Like, it's not even a weapon, but we're not allowed to defend themselves. So the police are allowed to walk around with guns, and we're not allowed to have armor so that they can shoot us. You see where all that goes. There is a historic story here that you don't know about. It's really fucked up. So this originates from the origin of Australia itself. It started as a prison colony. It was built by white slaves, not black slaves or brown slaves. That's all bullshit. White slaves. This New South Wales Police Force, they were slavers. And they weren't enslaving black people and all that kind of stuff. They enslaved white people. These were people who were basically kicked out of the British Empire. What happened was when the British Empire and others colonized the world, they spread out. They wanted to get rid of the trash from within their own ranks. And so there was a resistance to this trash, and they were hunting down there and doing like an inquisition of their own, of themselves. And this trash was no longer safe in Britain, so they went out. They went out with the new colonies and stuff to try and take over these colonies. Like when you spray poison on a cockroach nest, they scatter and they go to a nearby home. The same thing happened. So what happened when the British needed workers to build the new colonies, especially Australia. This is a big thing that happened in Australia. Is they didn't go get black slaves to build Australia. Whites never didn't go around enslaving black people. That's a big lie. I covered that in my previous video down below on my wall. These people enslaved white people, and it wasn't all the British. It wasn't the majority of British that enslaved their own kind. This was a minority of psychopaths, the very ones they were trying to purge, who had taken over the country, and they take over every white country. These are white traitors. These are the slavers. Their greatest enemies are the white people. So these slavers went around and kidnapping political opponents, anyone who was a whistleblower, a witness, any kind of stuff like that. Anyone the innocent and vulnerable, the sick, the dying, the weak. They went and rounded them all up and did horrific things to them and imprisoned them under things they've never done, like ridiculous things like stealing apples. You'll see a pattern here in the way that the New South Wales police operate compared to how things operated back then, how they shipped all these slaves off. They use the same tactics as the same organisation. They're slavers. So the old myth was like all these people were these poor starving people were allegedly were accused without evidence of stealing an apple, and therefore that was justification for imprisoning them for the rest of their life, shipping them off as slaves to the other side of the world to be prison slaves for the rest of their lives, for simply stealing an apple without evidence. So these slavers did this. They went and they betrayed their own people out of greed and profit and slavery, enslaved their own people. Traitors of the worst kind. This is the worst filth in the world. What I say, these are basically communists. These are the worst threat are actually a minority of whites. The majority of whites are responsible for 99% of the good in the world. But a minority of whites, these traitor communist types, these are the greatest threat to everyone. And the threat they pose the most to of all people are their own kind. They are constantly betraying their own kind. All these anti-white genocide that's going on, all these Black Lives Matter kind of terrorism shit, and ISIS infiltration of Europe and stuff. This is orchestrated by these white traitors. These brown terrorists. They're not able to do this on their own. They're not organised and coherent enough to do this on their own. This is being orchestrated and funded and enabled by these white traitors, these psychopaths, tiny minority of psychopaths within the white race. So these psychopaths started out as slavers, and they built. These are the same people behind the who took over the East India Trading Company that Britain shut down. The same people who branched out like cockroaches when they were kicked out of the British Empire. So they enslaved their own people in Australia, and those slaves built Australia until they were forced to free them. And it was the first Australian governments weren't all these slavers, but they knew this was going on. They knew this happened, so they freed the slaves and to basically say, no, like, this was wrong. These people were not guilty of what you accused them of. We need to get rid of this this disease that's come with us to the new land, to the new continent. We need to somehow do something about it and get rid of it. And they tried to disband the police and failed in a coup attempt that didn't work, and it was all covered up and stuff. And basically, after they freed the slavers kind of went underground and took control of power. And these slavers came to rename themselves as the New South Wales Police Force. Understand, these aren't two separate organisations. These are the exact same organisations. The same. They have a Bible and everything. They have the same, like not a Christian Bible. They have their own satanic Bible. It's mostly unwritten, passed down like secret stuff. Their traditions and stuff. The way they do things. This is how they maintain their little cult. And it's the same organization just under a different name. And this tactic of changing your name, this is what they do over and over. So when you see all these watchdog agencies in Australia, you might not know, just a few months ago, or the majority of watchdog agencies in the country, they all got done for massive extreme systemic corruption, and to the point where they're all disbanded, and there's a new single organization to replace them all. But this is the same people. They've just changed their name, and they've consolidated centralized power. Do you remember that? Didn't they do that with like Centrelink? Do you remember that? The CES and the Commonwealth Employment Agency and the other agency, they all centralized power into a new Centrelink because of the same thing, the same pattern. See what I'm saying? All these corruption, so they centralize power into the hands of a small few, change their name, but it's the same people. These same tactics that if you learn to understand how evil works, you can see you can see this everywhere. You can see the world as it really is, and you could be 100 steps ahead of them at all times. You understand how their simple, primitive thinking works. So the New South Wales Police Force are slavers. Do you think that such scumbag traitors of the worst kind, the most evil psychopaths, do you think they just, like, by changing their name and then and taking on the role of a police force, that they somehow eventually, after decades of time, they just suddenly find their way and just make it work, and that's all in the past, we're different now? Do you want to compare that against history? Every despot in history, did they suddenly just magically get cured of their evil disease that they've got inside their moral compass? They just suddenly just get better, like George Slowinski supposedly, where all these critics just suddenly just mysteriously disappear? Every single case, 100% of cases, every despot, if they didn't kill the despot and take back their country, everyone died. 100% of the time. So you're using history as a comparative example. You got to kill these fuckers or you die. Look what things are going. I mean, the USA police are copping a lot of flack right now, but understand, the New South Wales Police Force are way worse than that. They've got a long, extensively documented history. The things that I say, I don't say this on my own. These are like extensively documented. This isn't new news. It's just that you probably haven't heard much about it, but you'd heard some of it, but you know enough that you know that what I'm saying is true. But this is all extensively documented. This isn't like conspiracy theory stuff, bullshit. So the New South Wales police are slavers. Their old ways, they're still doing the same thing that they always do. They just change their name and pretend to be something else. And they effectively are the administrative branch of the government. Basically those who have the power to decide and intervene and have special powers to, like, kidnap people and stuff like that. So these are technically the same people as those in what people call the deep state. I don't like to say the term deep state because there's nothing deep about it. It is by its nature, it is shallow and pathetic and weak. So I don't like to call it deep state, but that's what people call it. Basically, you have people who are politicians, who they serve only 4 years or so, or 3 years, or whatever. They only serve short terms, and it's like this so that you can vote in a new one. If you don't like what they're doing, you can change them, and they can only serve like a limited number of 1 or 2 or whatever, depending on where you are. They can only serve a number of years, so that they have to constantly be replaced. The whole purpose of this is to prevent corruption and prevent people from building secret organizations within organizations where they can consolidate power secretly and gain a monopoly. So the hands of power are constantly changing in the name of preventing corruption. But when it comes to government departments, and especially police, people hold on to power for 30 years, and no one voted them in. No one can vote them out. This is what people call the deep state. And this is where the power and corruption is centered around. So when you get people like the New South Wales Police Force, you look how long they've been working in with all extreme powers. Do you think that people who abuse such powers, they don't go find other people who do the same thing and they protect each other? They say, you scratch my back, I scratch yours, cover for me, I'll cover for you. You think they don't do that? And they do sell each other out. They're the first to sell out their peers under pressure, but they conspire as much as they can in order to get away with it. This is what evil people always do. They form gangs and they protect. They do things that they know the public won't allow. So they secretly find others who agree. Let's do this thing and in secret and fuck this person over in the dark alley. And we'll surround him 10 versus 1, so that there's no risk to us and no one will know, and we'll just keep doing that. This is what evil people always do. They always gravitate towards their own kind and conspire in the dark. This is what's happened to the government. Now, when you look at the degeneracy of the government and police force, why do you think it's degenerating for? Despite all these complicated rules to try and fix it, it's not working and it's only getting worse. It's because people who realize that they got into something that they didn't realize how bad it was, and they're like, I don't believe in this anymore. I'm casting my vote of no confidence in the government or this government organization. This is not what I signed up for. All those people, they tried to whistleblow in the past, and you laughed at them, you mocked them, and you let them die. They all got killed. Or worse, they get locked up in psychiatric facilities and called mentally ill. This is what happened to them all. I've known so many who've died that I wasn't able to protect, and now I'm going to die myself. And all of you, you don't just turn a blind eye. You take part in it. You persecute the people who are trying to save your lives. It's fucking pathetic. But all these people who tried to whistleblow and tried to tell you, they left they cast their vote of no confidence a long time ago, and they left in protest, and some of them tried to whistleblow, some of them held on to evidence and passed it on to their children and stuff like that underground, in hopes that one day there'll be a situation where they'll be able to release it. This is what's gone on. So there's a lot of evidence, tons of it, that's ready to be released, but it's waiting for you to get off your ass and protect those who release it. But you won't. You don't do nothing. You don't get off your ass. Hell, like in the past week or two when I've been doing these, remember when I said this? Remember when I said that? I've been doing a theme on my Facebook. About 10 people or so have deleted me off Facebook. I wonder why. I told you so. I told you so. I told you so. Look, here's the proof. Remember when I said that and everyone trashed on me? And look, hey, it's all true. It's all proven true, over and over and over again. And I'll say it all along. If you've got a problem, you disagree with me, okay, let's debate it. Let's debate it on the public record. We'll have a go. If you want to do it privately without being accusatory and just investigate what I'm saying, and I'll go through with the stuff with you in a friendly way, that's all good too. But if you want to definitely stand against me, publicly stand against me, or gossip about me, let's do a public debate. And I've got $1,000 on the table. You can prove me wrong anything. No one ever can. Some have tried. They got utterly humiliated, and it's a meme that's gone on around the internet about me because of that. That's a big joke of everyone's scared of Taryn, which is me, Jeremy's Taryn. Everyone is too scared to face me because they get their asses handed. I really am the final boss. So basically all the people throw all these, they direct all these fake bosses of the internet and stuff. They direct them, and they try and trick them into having a go at me so that they can laugh and watch me destroy them. But no one's standing up to protect the people who tried to whistleblow. So this happened like decades ago, especially since the end of World War II to around the early 2000s is pretty much where most of the people who weren't entirely sold out, who got themselves stuck into something that they didn't realize they were getting into, they left. They got these government organizations and the police and like docs or fax. Remember docs got changed to fax. Why do you think they renamed docs to fax? Because of corruption. They just changed their same tactic as I say. Change their name, centralize and consolidate power and pretend it's someone else. Hey, we fixed it. We just changed our name and new people now with the same names. Same people, different names and different organization names, and this is what the same tactics, same simple primitive tactics over and over. So these people who whistleblowed, they tried, and you didn't listen. I remember in the 1990s this man-made virus stuff that happened that almost killed me, and I remember when all those whistleblowers got killed and everyone turned a blind eye. Long story there, but this is all the anyone who had any hope in these government organisations in the administrative level of government, the police and the government officers from like family and community services, police, even Centrelink, all these kind of government organisations who these career politicians in disguise who have all these arbitrary powers without being voted in. These are the problem. They've taken over all the government, and all the good people have left. That's why it's got worse, because anyone who had any hope in the administrative level of government have left, and there's nothing salvageable left of them. I'm not against the concept of government, but I'm saying the system itself has been broken and rigged, and the people in the system cannot be redeemed. I've given enough evidence to justify the public execution of thousands of government officials in this country. I've shown so much. So much has been censored, but so much hasn't. I've done this for years, and no one will step up and do. What do you think's going to happen if you don't do nothing? You think you're just going to stop? You're just going to die down and stop doing it? If ISIS took over the government and called themselves a prime minister, you're just going to put up with it and say, oh, if I don't piss them off, they might just behave themselves and the country will go back to normal? No, it's not going to go back to normal. Does it look like it's going back to normal to you, idiot? Bury your head in the sand. Look where we're at now. So with the New South Wales Police Force, they were the third largest police force in the world and one of the smallest populations per square kilometre in the world, and the ratio of police to citizens was huge, and they're also the most corrupt. Like, you're talking about the example of a corrupt police state. New South Wales, Australia, is by far the world's best example of that. Anyone who sees this, do you recall the New South Wales Police Inquisition of corruption when they got caught assassinating people in other states, whistleblowers? There was a Queensland government official whistleblower who they got caught murdering in a big conspiracy, and basically to stop the whole lot of them being executed publicly, they in protest, a big investigation called the Inquisition was set up. And with damning results. Like, they brought someone from the other side of the world, was it Peter Ryan, I think it was, to deal with it, the world's leading expert on corruption. And he said, his conclusion was, it is that bad, it is that fucking potently toxic and evil, that there is not a shred of it that is salvageable. It is not redeemable in any shape or form. And if you you have to destroy every shred of this organization, everyone who worked in this organization, even as a cleaner, anyone who touched this organization, you need to get rid of them, and don't let them have any power over anything ever again, and destroy every trace of the police of the New South Wales Police Force. It is that bad that if you let the culture of this evil is that bad that if you let a single piece of this to survive. If you create a new police force and you just let a little bit of it survive, it will infect and destroy it, and it will take over again. It is that fucking toxically, potently evil. That was the conclusion of the world's leading expert on police corruption. They tried to kill him too. They failed. They tried to frame him as well. Same tactics they do to me as they do to everyone. So I'm apparently I'm going to be raided, sieged, and killed again, apparently. I'm getting imminent threats. They're going to come get me, and they're going to come armed and break into my door. This time, they make up stories. They change their stories all the time. So they're going to do this again, apparently. They try to break in. They try to break into my home. The police and these administrative branch of government, these government officials in with special powers that no one voted in and no one knows who they are. The hidden administrators of these government organisations, these public government organisations like Docs, Fax, Police, Centrelink, and all these kind of things. These are the fucking scumbag evil who need to die. And yeah, I'm not against the concept of government. I came to this world to bring a form of government to fix all this shit. I'm all for policing. I'm all for government. But like, see, I'm a master at civilization. I understand civilization. I'm the only one qualified to teach civilization. I know this shit inside out. I know things that happen, that in the future possibilities. I know how things play out and how to deal with problems you've never even conceived of. But you're not living in a civilization. You're living in the ruins of an artificial civilization, a precursor to civilization that was given to you. You're not civilized. You're still animals living in the animal kingdom, and you're like an ape that's been given a gun, and you've figured out enough that you know how to fire the gun, and shit's going down. You're not civilized, and you're not living in a civilization, not yet. And you get to choose. You want to grow up or die. You need to be a civilized individual. You need to act above a minimum standard. You need to step up to your moral and legal responsibilities. You need to police the police. You can't have a babysitter. But the concept of government is not supposed to be a babysitter. You need to step up and be an adult. Government's supposed to be a mediator, and the mediator itself needs to have a mediator, which is what I'm supposed to do. But if you want to be an adult with a babysitter, it's all over. You need to step up and to your responsibilities or die. That's the dilemma here. So the police force are slavers. That doesn't get better. It doesn't automatically fix itself over time. It can only get worse. History as an example, 100% of the time it gets worse, and everyone dies 100% of the time. The only times anyone survives is with a lot of casualties after fighting against the despot and their little minions who sold out the traitors, the despots and the traitors. You have to kill them. I've given so much evidence, damning evidence, to justify dramatic action. No one has been able to produce a case against me in all these years. No one. I've offered a shitload of money for anyone who can produce no one can do so. No one can produce a case. I reach out to the government over and over. Every time I try, I say, look, I will pay you to produce a case against my case. Because if you don't deal with this, what do you think's going to happen? I'm trying to stop unnecessary harm. I have solutions. I can prove them. Your solutions are wrong. Here's the evidence. Like, here's your own experts have said that you're wrong, and this is not what you're doing is wrong, and it's not true. Do you want to talk about solutions and stop catastrophes from happening? Here's all the evidence. Look, everything I'm saying is backed up by evidence. Even your own experts, to many of the things that I say, back up what I say. Let's debate this. Let's have public debates and sort this out for once and for all, instead of doing this fucking censorship and making people disappear and coercion and stuff. Let's debate these problems and sort them out once and for all. And I offer a shitload of money, all kinds of everything I can do. What does every administrative branch of government, what do they do every single step of the way? They censor, they threaten, they try to have you killed, they try to have you framed. It's their own actions just prove my case. Why what has to happen. Either way, see, these people are doomed. They cannot be redeemed or salvaged. They're going to die no matter. There's no possible way they survive. They're going to die, and they will be. And anyone that does survive, they will be remembered as the most despicable filth that life was ever able to spawn. Their entire heritage and any children they have will be slaves forever. Yes, slavery is not necessarily a bad thing. Their entire genome, any of their genome that survives, of these corrupt scumbags, their genes are eternally cursed, forever. So any children that survive, for as long as they do survive, will be slaves to the victims forever. That's how this works. That's what they will be remembered of. Remembered by. That is their legacy. So New South Wales Police Force are slavers. They're not a police force. They never were. And there's a long, extensive history on this. There's a lot of that's happened that you just don't know about. And it's just, people who talk about it, they tend to disappear. Look, why do you think they're so fucking desperate to make me disappear? I have no criminal record whatsoever. They go around the local community. I've got witness testimony. They did this at my old place, man. They do this. They've been doing this for years, and people keep testifying to this. They go around the local communities wherever I am, and they tell everyone that Jeremy's dangerous. He's mentally ill. Don't believe a word he says, and they wink. If you start listening to him, then maybe something happened to you too. You need to stay away from him, and you need to tell us. If you see anything that we can pin on him, you need to work with us, or we'll do you in too. This is what they do. And at my old place, it worked with only a minority of people. A lot of people came to me warning that this was happening, and they were scared. But at my old place, a small number of them, they were able to sell out, and they had thugs outside my home 24/7. But not my next place. They weren't able to win anyone over, and it worked the other way around. But this is what it sounds crazy that the New South Wales government administration and police and to lesser degree their minions. It's usually the actual bosses themselves that go around doing this themselves. They do use minions to do this as they can, but this is really highly volatile stuff. So they do this themselves. They go around the local community telling them fucking lies about me. It's crazy as that fucking sounds. I've put up recordings of people testifying to this. This is how fucking pathetic they are. Look at these police in USA, all these tough guys who got their shit together. Look at them bowing to Black Lives Matter and eating, literally pretty much eating dog shit and stuff just to pacify the angry mob. Do these look like professionals and people who got their shit together? They're just weak-ass fucking piggy pussies. It's fucking pathetic. New South Wales police are even worse. It's all a fucking big act. Reminds me of their happy merchant. Because that's what they are. They conspire against their own people and sell them out and for a profit. That's what they are. They're happy merchants. So understand, the New South Wales Police Force are slavers. I've given enough evidence to take down the entire administration level of the Prime Minister's office, the New South Wales Premier's office, the local, the state government, and other local branches have done. This is just the stuff that's been done to me that I've documented. That's the tip of the iceberg of the shit that I can show, but the world's not ready for it yet, and it's not worthy of it yet. Deal with this shit, and then we go to the next stage. You deal with the stage 1 threat first, and we go to stage 2 once, which involves like the intelligence agencies and stuff like that. But the administrative level of government, like I've got enough evidence. I keep showing it. No one can make a case against me, and the very government makes my case for me. And you won't act. You won't do what you need to do, what you're justified and legally obligated to do. No, what do you think's going to happen? So they're going any time now. They're going to. I'll just give you an example of what this recent threat's right. So it started as recently, if anyone recalls, I went to the Prime Minister's office. They've got an official method of contacting the Prime Minister's office and writing them a letter, which I did. And I documented myself doing this on my Facebook wall. And I said, look, here I'm a whistleblower. I'm asking for political asylum. Here is some evidence. Here is a bunch of witnesses from all different places, including high-ranking places, government officials, and all this kind of stuff as well, testifying to what I say and the urgency of my situation. And I need political asylum and medical treatment to save my life from the injuries these people have inflicted on me. So right after sending them this letter, before they were able to read it, my body collapsed, and I ended up in a hospital emergency department, which is the most dangerous place for me because they want to do me in. I documented that, like, remember me saying I can't breathe? Well, they stood over me, mocking me and telling me to die, and I got testimony off a surgeon saying that basically that I am perfectly sane, I am not a threat to myself or anyone else, and this is before they read my letter, so they didn't know that I'd done this yet. This is just after I did the letter, before they'd read it, and I've got testimony on record of the only interaction I've had with the government was writing this letter. For a long time, he's writing this letter. There's one. Sorry, there was the where the government came to review my tenancy, and came threatening me and ran off, admitting that I've done nothing wrong. But I've had no interaction with the government. They got no case against me, no concern about me or anything, nothing. Right? So I write the Prime Minister's office. I get a testimony off the government saying that I am perfectly sane. I definitely confirm that I have urgent medical issues, but they don't give me medical treatment. But they do confirm that I'm sane, that I'm not a threat to myself or anyone else. A day or two later, they finally get around to going over my letter, and oh shit, they shit themselves. So they, the Prime Minister's office says, they completely ignore my request for political asylum. They completely ignore my medical urgency. They tell me that they've referred me back to the very people I'm trying to report and asking for protection from. And what do you think happens? They siege my home, they raid my home, they vandalise my home, they stand outside my home in vans and stand outside banging on my door, mocking me and calling me up, making threats. I got all live streams of this shit. These are some of them even gave their names and stuff, all documented. This is how they react. Just that whole series of events, showing that there's no hope of any justice in any government department or watchdog agency. They're all completely compromised. What am I legally obligated to do? I must kill them. If I don't, I die. There's no government avenue I can take to find any political protection or any rule of law. These are criminal scum who mean to torture and kill me. And there's no avenue of government that will protect me, and every avenue of government has been proven beyond reasonable doubt, proven with no case against it, proven to be entirely corrupt. Any attempt for me to interact with any government agency, documented over and over, they try to kill me. Do I just give up and die? Do I let them kidnap me? Do I meet them in a dark alley as they ask while they're heavily armed with guns? We just want to talk? Or do I fucking fight back? I didn't come to them, they came to me over and over and over. It was that bad previously that at my old place, as ridiculous as it sounds, this is what they were doing. Police were parked outside my home, not in unmarked cars, but in actual police cars, right outside the front of my home, while thugs are surrounding my home 24/7, throwing bricks and shit at my windows and stuff, and telling me they're going to slit my throat in my sleep and stuff 24/7, while the police are out the front. If I manage to get out without getting attacked, the police are always out the front. I walk down the street every time. The police, they don't tail me from far away. No, they tail me right next to me, like 5 meters behind me. I slow down, they slow down. I speed up, they speed up. They always have the headlights on when they want. They're not trying to be hidden. They want to be seen. To fuck with me. Everywhere I go, they follow me everywhere I go. 5 meters behind, not 15, 20 meters. Like, oh, there's a police guy went by. I'm not sure if it was got nothing to do. No, I'm talking about they're right fucking next to me. Every time I went to the shops and back, everywhere I went, the same shit every fucking day. And I would get and they would set me up to be attacked over and over again. almost getting run over while the cops point and laugh at me and shit. This is fucking ridiculous. So like if I went to a place where their car can't get to, they get out of the car and they keep following me on foot. They instead of 5 meters, they stay 10 meters behind. If I start going towards like a pub or a club or something, I'm going to go in. They get closer and closer to the point where they're actually within touching distance. If I turn around and say something, they pull their guns out and threaten me and call me mentally ill and we need to take you. We might need to take you, or just ridiculous fucking crazy shit. All day, every fucking day. This is the kind of shit that they did to me. For 7 years, since 2013, they haven't fucking left me alone. Imagine what they did to me when I was in prison for a year without charge or trial. After I was kidnapped outside a fucking courtroom after testifying against them. I asked the court, look, here's all the evidence, a bag full of fucking evidence. Thousands of hours of recordings, testimony, confessions. I'm in imminent danger. I need political asylum right now or I'm gonna get kidnapped and die. Completely ignored. I did my testimony. I walked outside the very fucking door, a crowd of heavily armed police waiting for me and kidnapped me. And who's outside the very front of the actual court building? Mainstream news with a big camera right up to my face, mocking me. Think I'm making this shit up? I keep putting up fucking evidence, and people pretend it never happened. And then they delete their denials after I put it up. That never happened. So these recent threats, so they're trying to get into my home again, right? And as of several days ago, and now they've made up, after they've already done a bogus excuse to go over my home, to go through my home and go through my shit. They've already done that, all right? Now they need to do it again, and now they're saying, oh, they need to check my smoke alarm again. I've already gone through everything. And now they check my smoke alarm again. And who do you think it's not? This is to understand the tactics and the ways they do things. It's really easy to predict. So apparently now they need to check my smoke alarm for some bizarre reason, and they send me a letter saying that they're going to break into my home if I don't let them. Do you think the government just out of the blue suddenly needs to check your smoke alarm? And they say if you don't let them in, they're going to break into your home and they're going to charge you for it, and they might evict you. And is that normal? Imagine if you had like a non-government landlord, and they just suddenly send you a letter. I need to check for some unexplained reason. I need to check your smoke alarm right now. You need to be home. I need to know where you are, right? Specific space, place, and time. Let's pretend that these aren't the same people who are trying to kill you, and all on the record doing so. And if you don't do that, I'm gonna come with like 100 police, heavily armed police, and kill you. Where did what the fuck? Weird smoke alarm shit, and then suddenly we're gonna fucking kill you. What the fuck? Yeah, it's just like they try and play on. They do even a shit poor job at that. They try and play on technicalities, and they fuck up that as bad as possibly can be as well. It's just ridiculous technicalities that don't even fucking make any sense, and suddenly it's always the same result that it's an imminent threat. We're gonna basically raid home. So here's one of the technicalities. Just to show example. I've shown examples before. You need to see what the techniques of what they do. So apparently I'm getting threatened by the New South Wales housing department. Right. This is one of the really worst. One of these deep state criminals. Or these are the really bad ones. They're responsible for this bizarre recent checkup they need to do, and they also need to go through my stuff. They won't say why, but they need to check all my shit. The New South Wales Housing Department needs to go through my stuff. Why? No reason given. I thought it was about for some reason they need to go check my smoke alarm again. No. Now we need to check all your shit. Can't say why. And we need to know where you are at a certain time so we can fucking ambush you. This is what they do. So, they have a key to my home. They already have a key to my home. They're my landlord. The government landlord have a key. But they don't threaten to use the key to get into my home. No, they threaten to vandalise my home, break in, and then charge me for it, instead of using the key. So that they can take money out of my bank account, instead of using the key. Like, do you see it's just, we're just following orders, just following the technical specifications, and no, they're not. It's just bullshit. Just always the same result is they're trying to take. They've been doing this for a while. I've shown evidence. They're trying to take all the money. I've got money, and they want to take that away. They took my transport away with my car and my independent transport, so I have to use trains and buses and taxis and stuff, which is more difficult than it would have been otherwise. And they heavily targeted that to make it difficult for me to travel. And they're doing the same with my bank account, my money. I've been all kinds of shit they're trying to do to take my money away from me. And this is another way to do it. It doesn't make any fucking sense. It's just lies and excuses, and they always hide behind the same tactics of technicalities and shit. It doesn't fucking end. So I'm basically I've just put up a thing below. You can see there on my Facebook. That's on my front door. I went home for a bit and checked my mail and saw more threats after they're already on the surveillance or trying to break in again. But here we go. Might as well just put up so you can see it. I'll just move myself out of the way just so you can see it. Hang on. Whoops. Okay. That's on my front door. So look, I've said all for so long. I've contacted their bosses, saying, look, if you want to contact me, the only way you can contact me is in a public forum. I've chosen Facebook. Contact me publicly on Facebook, and if you have an issue you have a problem with me, or you want to, if you have a good justified reason that you need to see me or speak to me, then contact me publicly on Facebook and let the public decide. I'm in a lot of danger, and I'm not going to put myself in unnecessary danger by your own freaking co-workers who are trying to kill me, on the record trying to kill me. I'm not going to trust you. No, we speak publicly on the record for the public to scrutinise and see for themselves. No, never happened. They will never engage me. Whenever I try to do that, they freak out and they try to take me out. They try desperately to make me disappear and try to kidnap me. Never, not once have they ever publicly engaged me. They always try to get me off camera, desperately try to get me off camera to make me disappear. So you see their message there, like they're threatening to break in. Like, okay, I'm not home. Here's where you can contact me if it's really urgent. If it's legitimate and urgent, here's where you can contact me. They don't contact me. Instead, they break into my home, and they break into a home of a door that says, "Look, this is what's going on." And I'm prepared to use. If you try to break into my home, I'll kill you. If you need to get into my home for some reason, here's where you can contact me. So they don't contact me, and they break through the door that warns them that they'll be killed if they try it. Whose fault is that? Do I not have the right to defend myself and my property, and my privacy and security? Do you think that I'm ever going to get a fair court case or a court case at all? I was in prison for a year without a court case at all, without even an accusation. So what must I do? What am I obligated to do? I'm the only one who's willing to fight back and do the right thing. I'm the only one who's qualified and equipped and has the skills and knowledge and the disposition to do it the right way. I understand the rest of you know what needs to be done. Everyone knows damn well what needs to be done, but you're scared and you don't know. And one of the things you're scared of is that you'll miss the mark and do the wrong thing, and that itself is the only justified thing that you're probably doing. Is that you need to stay your hand until you sort yourself out, but you're not sorting your shit out, and you're out of time. You need to defend the innocent and vulnerable. When the government is clearly doing shit that's black and white wrong, raiding people wrongfully, sieging them, kidnapping them, torturing them, killing them, beating them up, you do it back to them. And then if their own police chief doesn't do their job, and they try and give them administrative leave. Yeah, this is what they do, administrative leave and stuff. So they give them a holiday, paid holiday, They give them a raise and a promotion. And somehow that's punishment. But hey, they're off the streets, right? They're not beating people up anymore. They're off the streets. And hey, guess what? They're in the administrative powers. What do I say about the administrative level of government? They get recruited as one of the, okay, you're one of us now. So how is that supposed to solve the problem? It's like total opposite. Forrest Gump could figure that out. So you need to fight back. You need to do eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. When the government raid people's home and beat them up, you do it to them. Everyone involved, you go after those who sent them. Every single person involved, you do the same thing to them. And you do it with interest. And then, if their bosses are anyone who was not directly related, don't do it. And if they do that, they raid someone and kill them, you kill them. You don't take it to court. You don't protest. You don't complain. You do exactly what they did with interest. My rules is you do it doubly so. You do double the punishment. When people with positions of government power abuse that power to do crimes, if they want to go do like raid someone or something like that, they better be pretty damn sure that they're justified in doing so, because they're not, and you need to be justified. Be sure that you're right. If you fight back, you need to do that right too, because you suffer the same consequences. You only less because you're not in a position of government power, but they're in positions of entrusted government power. When they abuse that power, their rule is that they pay 10 times the punishment. So if they raid you and beat you up, you can do the same to them 10 times according to their own rules. You have to do this. But you don't just stop at those responsible. When you have like a judge who says who lets them off with a slap on the hand, and they don't do that, you need to do the same to the judge. If the judge doesn't do their job, the same punishment you do to them, you do to the judge. If any other police officers or government officials try to get in your way and stop you from punishing them, you do it to them too. And you continue you continue to do so. This is how you enforce rule of law. You can't, in a civilization, you can't rely on a babysitter. That's not how civilization works. You need to step up and do it. The government is supposed to be a mediator to make sure that you do it right. They're like an extra step, like a mediator between you and others you have a problem with, and they themselves need a mediator, which is what my job is. Do you understand? You need to step up. You need to police the police and govern the government and judge the judges. That's how a civilization works. You don't get second chances this time. You've run out of chances. It cost me everything to give you this one last chance. I don't see anyone stepping up. At least I did my part. I just hope where I was sent from there, someone sees what I've done and knows that what has transpired here. Hope at least someone knows, for reasons that you probably don't understand. But you have to do to them what they do to you. You don't look at the consequences. Look what's going on in the world around you. Understand all these like ISIS or Black Lives Matter or they're all terrorists and Antifa and stuff. They are not really different people to the very people they're attacking. The police are attacking. They've already actually taken over the police. They fight amongst themselves, but they're all working at the same time. They're working toward looting the mutual enemy, which is really the straight white male. Blah 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 blah. That I said before. It's how they operate. They attack each other while they're working together. That's how evil operates. Just because they attack each other doesn't mean that they don't work together to exploit a mutual enemy. I mean, for example, you've got two different animals that constantly kill each other, but they have the same mutual rich food source that they fight over. They're not going to protect the food source. They're going to consume the food source. And they're fighting over they're two vicious animals fighting over a carcass. They're not, just because they're fighting each other doesn't mean they're on the carcass's side. the dying horse. They both mean to eat the dying horse. And if they can find a way to temporarily get along and share the spoils of the horse, they do so all the time. Sometimes they fight over it, sometimes they don't. They're not on the horse's side. They're both. It's 2-on-1. Do you understand that? So when the likes of like the police and Black Lives Matter, for example, in these recent events, which I said would happen in a lot more in intricate detail, they are actually the same side. Just because they're fighting against each other, they're just fighting over power, and they're all actually communists and anarchists. They're all the same thing. They're all traitors and greedy scumbag, hypocrite, psychopaths. The only battle here of salvaging something is in salvaging those who haven't chosen a side and acted yet. Those who've sided with all that the power abuse stuff. It's too late for them. It is better for them. It would have been better for them that they were never born. And it's too late. The condemnation and punishment is to come to them is beyond human recognition, and it will never end. Their punishment is eternal. You don't understand. It's not what your fantasy stories and religions say. It's far worse. It's their punishment and eternal suffering is a deterrent for others in order to maintain civilization on the greater scale. You're not prepared to handle what that is, but they're doomed. The reason there's any battle here of any protection of anything is for those who have not yet chosen that side, to give them a chance to choose otherwise, to make a case for their defense. Even if you fall short, all of you will fall short until the distant future. But there's a minimum level that you must at least be that much to work with. But no one's even doing that. Step up to your responsibilities and fight back. I'm not talking about being a vigilante villain. I'm talking about being a vigilante superhero. You need to deal with the thugs and looters, and you need to deal with the corrupt police and government officials. Don't treat them differently. Just they're no different. There's just one of them is trying to get power from the other, and they'll do the same thing that they did when they're in power, and then they'll swap sides. And this is what Muslims do. They swap sides, and they oppress each other. Not just you. They oppress each other, and they cry victim when they're on the losing side until they take over, and they do the same thing, and the previous oppressors become the new victim status. It's just the same shit. They all do the same shit. You'd realize? Can you not see? Can't you see how they all these different groups, they act the same? They use the same mantras, the same statements, the same tactics, they're the same ideology. They're the same evil, just under different names. Most of them don't even realize it. What they are. That they're the same as the things the people that they're fighting with. They're fighting over a carcass. They're not fighting to protect the carcass. They just want it all for themselves. So that carcass is the dying horse, which is those of you who haven't joined their side yet, but haven't got off your ass. Those who've got off their ass, I rarely protect them because I don't want to steal their thunder. They've already made a case, and the more that the good that they do, I don't want to interfere with that unless I can they're like a plant growing in a garden. I don't want to. I want them to grow on their own merits. I don't want to interfere with that and take away. That will take away from any interference I do will take away from that. But if I can through proxy provide conditions to which get them to grow even bigger, I'll do that. But I try not to interfere with those who with the heroes. I'm here to try to provide conditions mainly for those who haven't chosen to step up. Because if you don't step up, like there is no third choice. Okay? There's no third choice between good and evil. By pretending not to be evil, That's no, you are. You're just not owning it, and you'll be forced to own it in the end if you don't choose to do the right thing. Just stand up and defend the innocent and vulnerable, and stand up to those who do these evil things, whether police or these communist terrorists and stuff. It's all the same. You need to sort your shit out and step up and do the right thing. If you don't, you suffer the same fate as them. You're in a very grave position here. Understand. Step up or die. This isn't my fault. This is all your fault. If you stepped up in the past, none of these problems that are coming upon the world that are already getting worse and worse, the flood that's building up, it's only going to get worse. And you are the enablers of this. All the people who tried to stop this from happening, all the whistleblowers who've all been tortured and killed and locked up in psychiatric facilities and stuff like that. How many of you mocked them? How many of them you reported them as they're trying to save lives, and you report them to the police thinking that you're being a do-gooder and shit, when all you really care about is your feelings and what people think of you. Like this is what I wanted to say. So much stuff I wanted to say in this video, but I'm not going to do it. But this is what people do. They pretend that they're doing the right thing. They only really care about what people think of them. They don't really care about actually doing the right thing. They only care about their appearances. And most people like this, especially social media. But it's worse than it seems. See, why would you care so much about what other people think of you? Look at me. I look like a fucking devil. I hate fucking cigarettes like the plague. But I've got a cigar here and I've got a crown and I'm the devil. There's symbolic reasons why I'm doing this. I don't give a shit what people think of me. Never did. People used to think I was retarded or something because I never gave a shit about what people think of me. No, I wasn't retarded. It was the extreme opposite. That's what people didn't understand. They were scared of me because as a kid, because I knew things that I shouldn't, and I didn't give a shit. I was completely immune to peer pressure. People didn't understand. I come from a lot of knowledge and experience from elsewhere. Long story, but you need to choose this. I was going to say, I forgot what I was going to say. I'm really sick, as you might know. Injuries and stuff like that. I've almost blacked out there and I forgot my train of thought. I need to go to the loo. That's what I need to do. I'll be back in a sec. Hang on. Alright, yeah, I'm losing blood flow. I should be fine. Hopefully I don't pass out. Otherwise I'll split this up and re-merge it. Losing blood flow, I've lost my whole legs are gone. I should be right to finish this. So what I was saying was, why do you really care about what people think of you? What's the real reason? Because the reasons you think are not true. People, you might think that somehow that validates you or something, that what other people think of you. And the more you look into that, you realize it's not what it seems, but it's not. The destination of that is not what you think. If you even have the courage enough to go that far. The true reason why anyone cares what other people think of them is outside of the obvious, like simple about truth and lie. It's morals. That's not about you. But so it's. What I'm talking about when you're concerned about what people think of you. It's not about truth and morality in general. This is all focused about what people are focused about, what people think about them. Where everyone seems to be so obsessed with what everyone thinks about me. It's fucking pathetic. The real reason is that you are a predator, a wolf in sheep's clothing, and you're trying to protect your disguise. Why would you protect your disguise? because you mean to do evil, exploitative things, and you're living in a fantasy where you think that you're a better person, that you think you're someone else that you're not, and you tell that to yourself in order to avoid dealing with reality and owning the consequences of. So you're disconnected from yourself. You've got two versions of yourself: the real you and the fake you. And in order to avoid the impulses of that are still naturally functioning within your mind, that haven't been totally corrupted, that make you feel bad about what you're doing, you escape into this fantasy version of yourself to drown out the screams of the moral conscience that's left in you. So you escape into this fantasy version of yourself, and you indulge that and try to scream it out with all this bullshit. And what you're really protecting when you really care so much about what people think of you, you're protecting your disguise as you're a predator protecting your disguise, and what you're doing is fucking despicable. The reason why you need to protect your disguise is because you're in fear of being punished, of suffering from it, from justified punishment you deserve. But that's only half of it. The other half is that you'll fear that your disguise, with your disguise gone, you won't be able to greedily take what you're trying to take from others, because you'll lose your little trick, your little scheme, your little fake version of yourself. It's like a virus. This is what a lot of life does. It's a common thing. It's not. Look, viruses do this. Bacteria do this. They invade. You have an immune system to fight this. This is not some obscure thing. This is like one of the biggest things of how life works. You got predators and prey and stuff like that, and you've got good and evil. This is the standard. This is basics. Life 1-on-1 basics. Is what does a virus do? If it's different to your body identifies it. It attacks. It realizes this form of life is recognized to consume my resources and do harm to my body, whether it intends to or not. It's going to hurt me, so I need to kill it. So the virus counteracts, and different adaptations happen back and forth, and different paths go. Some end up forming a symbiosis. Others go down a very dark, self-serving path of being a parasite. These predictable paths happen in life over and over again. The same scenario plays itself out. So when it comes to disguises and wolves in sheep's clothing and stuff, this happens on a microbial level. It always does. It's why you have an immune system. Do you understand what I'm saying here? Do you want to be like that worm that looks like it looks like my horns here, with fucking giant teeth and blood-sucking leech? Is that where you want to be? Because that's where you're going. You're not going to survive if you go down that path. There's no way you can win. So why you really care about what people think of you? And I see this everywhere. I'm not just talking about like on my friends list on Facebook. I'm like, I am who I am, the founder of Anonymous and a lot more. I see everything that goes on in the world. Like, I'm connected to so much more than I could possibly explain here. I see everything. I see what goes on, and I see what goes on in people's minds, why they do what they do before they do it, why they do it. And I see what is yet to happen, and the reasons why. I see the motives and the intentions and the processes of minds that go on. It sickens me, and I understand it, and I understand the solution to it, but I can't intervene. There's only a certain level that I can do. You have to make the choice. So why you really care what people think of you, and you're not willing to step up and do the right thing, even if you're not willing to stand out on your own and do the right thing. And when you do, it's always about you're always on your mind what people think of you. There's several things going on here, and you're really doing a predator, wolf in sheep's clothing here. You're trying to protect your disguise so that you can infiltrate your prey like a carcass. You're seeing other people like a horse carcass, and you're trying to sneak in undetected. And people try to pretend that they're non-violent. I'm non-violent. I'm passive. I'm stupid. I'm not very smart. I'm no threat to anyone. And these portrayals, these masks that you put on, these fake personalities that you put on, there's only one real reason when it comes down to it, is you're trying to bypass people's defenses so that you can exploit and plunder them like a vampire. That's what the motive deep down is. And you may think that it's something else when that's what it really is. Now, when you go the early stages of these evolutions, when it comes to mammalian and microbial warfare and stuff, it goes down those directions, but in a completely different context. And as you evolve, things can go wrong, and you can go on a tangent path, and the context changes. So this is where this evil in mankind comes from, this self-serving. Why you're so concerned about what people think of you, and you're putting on this false portrayal, this false image of yourself, the false self. It didn't start out. What's going on in your head, these automated processes that you're struggling with, that you don't understand. It has a good purpose that it originally served, and you're misusing it. You're misusing the tools of your own mind, and you've corrupted it, and you don't care. You have the choice to choose otherwise. You need to face it, and I can put up a mirror so you can see what you don't want to see about yourselves. You may try to kill me for it, but it's the only hope. You need to face and deal with what's really going on inside you. And here's the point here. It doesn't have to be this way, and you don't have to be such a despicable creature. I'm not trying to save those who cannot be redeemed, who have abused those positions of power. I'm talking to you, the powerless. Because I believe there is something in you worth saving, and it doesn't have to be this fucking corrupted mess inside you. It can all be washed away and cleaned, and you can't change what you've done, but you can change what time you have left in your life. And that impact can have a butterfly effect, massive butterfly effect in the future. The decisions you make here and now can destroy or save the world. One person's decisions can do that. It doesn't have to be this way. Don't go down with those government administrators and police officers. They're the whole lot of them. I just want to finish something with the police to show you how bad they are. As I said before, the police have this cult, this unwritten Bible that they have. I know how this shit works inside out. Remember, I'm the guy who was in prison for a year on the official record of documenting government corruption and being too smart for my own good. That's what the official records. That was my mental illness, of documenting government corruption and being too smart for my own good. If I'm too smart for my own good, and they so desperately want to take me out, maybe I know some things. Maybe you need to listen to what I say, because I understand this. I see everything. I understand their cult and how it works behind the scenes. I see everything. And what they do is they have a system of how they operate. Now, I have this rule that I like to say, is every New South Wales police officer who's been in the police force for more than 6 months is automatically guilty by default, unless they can prove, within reason, provide sufficient proof to show that they have a reason why they've secretly infiltrated with every intention to become a whistleblower. They're gathering evidence or something. They're like a double agent or something like that. If they can't provide that and enough evidence to show that, then by default they are guilty as charged along with the whole lot of them. So the 6-month cap is if you've been in the New South Wales police force for longer than 6 months, you are guilty as charged by default. You have to produce a case otherwise, a very strong case otherwise. Now, technically, you can say 3 months is a cut-off limit, but I'd like to give another 3 months for, as I could say to that, because they have time to reconsider. So the first 3 months when you're a police officer, this is what they do. Is, as I said, this Bible that they have, it's not written. Some of it's written down here and there, and sometimes they do write some little books and stuff that they don't widely distribute. A lot of that goes on, but most of this is like an unwritten culture that they have. That go unwritten book. It's all hush hush. So every now and then you get someone who wants to join the New South Wales Police Force, who they think, look, this is fucked up, and I believe in the idea of police. I do myself. But people like say like, oh, I believe in the idea of police, and I'm going to join the police force. I'm going to fix it all up. Every now and then you get someone who's stupid enough to try it, and they don't understand how bad it is and how it works, and they think, I'm going to try and fix it. And people do the same thing with politics. It works similar in politics, but it's not as organised, because the politics change hands of power all the time. But these people are career power mongers, the deep state kind of people. They join the police force, and they're only a minority. Most people who join the police force these days, they know damn well they join this police force so they can do bad shit and abuse power. But a minority of them, they want to fix it. So in order to weed out the potential risk, the ones that are going to dob on them and stuff like that, and expose them, the infiltrators who are double agents and stuff like that, they have a system that they didn't make themselves, but this has been going. This system is really old. It's from the early days of this stuff that they've made a little adjustments to. But they're dumb people who are using a system that someone else made. They just repeat like fucking dumbass NPCs. They just repeat how the system, the rule book works. So in the first 3 months, what they do, instead of telling you how things work, they show you by example. So they take these new recruits out on for the first 3 months. They take them out on these tours, and they deliberately do things that are obviously criminal and morally wrong. And they have a system of how they do it, and they watch the new recruits, and they see how they respond, and what kind of cues how they are, and they determine through psychological traits and stuff. They determine who's at risk of being a dobber and who isn't. They measure your moral compass, and whether you're going to be a good little follower or if you're going to be a dobber. And that's what the whole first 3 months is. They progressively show you different scenarios. They do things to people, and they measure these new recruits how they react. And then if you pass that 3 months trial period, you become a fully fledged police officer, and then one of their little cults, and then you climb the ranks depending on how good you play. If you don't pass that 3 month period test and you're a threat, they take you out. And there's all kinds of creative ways they try and figure out to take you out. They might take you out like really quickly, or they might take a couple of years. They'll do shit. They'll fuck with you, and they'll in all kinds of ways, and you'll end up either being dead or framed or you're suicide or something. All kinds of shit. They try to mix it up so that people can't follow different tracks. They try to mix it up to make it difficult to predict, so they won't do the same tactic on every one of these new recruits. Some of them are lazy and start doing that, but most of them don't. They're very, very like OCD about that. They need to try different. They need to take them out in different ways because they're always concerned about being caught. But when it comes to the ways that they target the citizens, the civilians, that's always predictable. They use the same tactics all the time there. But when it comes to taking out their own kind, they're very careful about how they do that. Do you understand? This is how this cult called the New South Wales Police Force work. Other police do the same thing as well, and other organisations of evil do the same thing. But the New South Wales Police Force is like a granddaddy of this kind of pathetic shit. There's so much I could say here, but I've been given threats by the government. They try to get in my home again, all this kind of shit. We've probably got I've got a sign outside my door, as you can see down there. I've put up before. I may I may end up in a shit out with 100 cops armed in riot gear and shit, and I have to kill half of them and die in the process because no one stopped to help me, or because of a smoke alarm or some shit, or whatever. No, it's not a smoke alarm anymore. It's now they need to go they need to go through my stuff, and they need to check my property, my stuff, my actual stuff, for some unexplained reason. And even though they have a key, they're not going to use the key. They're going to break in and charge me. So it's like they set. This is what they do. They make shit up and they rig it all so that there's no way out. And like what they're trying to do, they're trying to get me. They're trying to find me so that they can surround me and kidnap me off camera. Obviously, that's what I showed. What happened recently and all that. It's crystal clear. And they're trying to say that like if we can't get you, we're gonna lay this trap for you, and we're gonna start taking money out of your bank account. We're gonna vandalize your home while you're out and while you're away, and we're gonna use that to justify taking money out of your bank account. We can't get you, so we're gonna go after your bank account. Do you understand? This is the kind of shit that they do. It's fucking pathetic. It's not advanced. It's really primitive. But this is what they always do. So I'll just finish that with that point there. Why would they break into my home? Who knows if they'll do it this time or not? Half the time they do, half the time they don't. Like what happened recently? I had to urgently, a matter of extreme urgency, this mystery reason I had to go with them. They're going to break into my home and kidnap me at gunpoint. For a reason they can't specify. It's important, so important. I have to go with them right now, and then suddenly they stop. Haven't heard from them since, and then suddenly, long time passes. Suddenly they start trying to break in again. This time over a smoke alarm, which changed to now they have to go through my stuff for a unexplained reason. It's just fucking all over the place. But yeah, they got it. If they have justified reason, they can contact me. They break into a door that's telling them the whole situation. This is where to contact me. I've tried to reach out to them over and over. They won't respond. But they're saying on the other side, they're saying that they can't contact me when I'm trying to contact them over and over and saying this is where you can contact me. Contact me only publicly. They won't do it. And now they're going to break into my home, even though they've got a key. They're going to smash my door down, vandalize all my stuff. Why would you smash a door down when you've already got the key? Whoops. They fucked up there, didn't they? But this is what they do. They fuck up all the time. This is why they say he's too smart for his own good, because I catch them out all the time. And half the time they back off and they stop. Damn, he's got us again. We have to try another tactic. Or half the time they do it anyway. And they just make up a story and just try and destroy evidence and threaten witnesses and shit. You know, that's fucking pathetic. The whole lot of them need to die. You don't need to. They're not on trial here. You are. They're already condemned. They're damned. There's no saving for them. I'm talking to you, not them. I've got nothing to say to them. There's no hope for them. I'm trying to salvage you. The only way you can be salvaged is you need to step up above a minimum standard to your responsibilities as a civilized individual. Compare this to like an extraterrestrial species who's got their shit sorted together, a part of a greater community. They need to sort this shit out. They can't go around migrating into other people's countries and taking free shit and calling them racist. They've had all wars and shit over there. They've found a way to make things work. If they were to come down here and see this shit, what do you think they'd do? They think they'd let you live? They think, oh shit, these people are a threat to us. If we let them out, they're gonna fuck us all up, and we're gonna start all those wars all over again that they did in the past. What do you think they're gonna do? They're gonna wipe you fuckers out. So you sort your shit out. You're out of time. You need to defend victims, and I understand you don't know what you don't know. You're lost. You're like a tamed dog who's been dumped out in the wild, and you don't know what to do. I understand that. I can show you the way, but you have to step up and be willing to do what you need to do. I can guide you and show you, not lead you, but guide you and show you how to do it for yourself. But only if you do the minimum requirement. You need to just get off your ass and start protecting the innocent and vulnerable. Look at this. Is the police are look at the police issue with the Black Lives Matter and stuff. They're, as far gone as the Black Lives Matter lies are, the idea of stepping up and to your responsibilities and being the police, even though they're doing it for the wrong reasons and it's all dishonest and stuff, that idea is the very thing that you need to do. Who knows? As fucked up as they are, these are not the Not all these people who are protesting are Black Lives Matter. The people who are non-black, who are anti-Black Lives Matter, who are doing the protests, these are the ones who have the most hope, because these are the ones who are starting to step up, and they're realizing, hey, I'm against these even though we're being put in with these Black Lives Matter terrorists, we're totally against them, and we're also totally against the police, but we're not against the idea of police. But look, the police are, there's no hope for the police. There's no hope for these thugs. They're both wrong, and someone needs to step up. And look, there's some people are trying. They're trying. They don't know much about how to do it, but they're trying to step up, and they're saying, look, we're gonna try and be the temporary police, and we'll arm ourselves and protect businesses, and yeah, maybe there'll be some fuck ups here and there, but it's nothing compared to the catastrophe otherwise. You need to step up and police your local community, and more importantly, police the police. The people you need to police the most are those who wield power. Not the powerless are not as guilty as those who have the power that doesn't belong to them. So much I could teach you everything, but I'm not going to get a chance. Without a miracle, I'm going to die because no one protected me. And no one protected all these whistleblowers who died. That's why we're in the predicament in the first place. No one stepped up. I assure you that once I'm gone, the floods are going to consume everyone. There will be no escape. Step up. Or die. There's only so much I can do to help you. I can't do it for you. Step up and start being the police.